Hey everyone, and welcome to another Washcloth Wednesday. This month we are doing the textured wave pattern, and the sample I have made up is in 3 colors, and it really shows off the wave pattern when you use multiple colors. And the colors I have used, I have white. So white is finally in stock. I finally got some from my supplier. Hallelujah is all I can say, but white is in stock. And then this is light turquoise, and then the tie-dye version I have used is called Peacock. So those are the 3 colors I'm using. But you don't necessarily have to use 3 colors. It does like make the pattern just really pop. But as I was working up the pattern, just kind of practicing it, I just had some spare cotton on my desk, and I did it up in that, and I think it looks pretty darn fantastic in just 1 color. Really great texture. So for a washcloth, this is going to be a really good scrubby kind of washcloth because you have all this lovely texture. So let's get into it. What else do you need? You need your 4.5mm crochet hook, or whatever crochet hook you need for the cotton you're using. So we always recommend using cotton for washcloths, but if you are just making this to practice the stitch, you can use whatever yarn you like, and then just make sure that your hook matches your yarn. I am going to recommend a couple of stitch markers, and I'll get into that when we start going through the pattern. A needle to weave in your ends, and scissors. There are ends in this. So to get started, you need a chain of 31, and then we are going to work the pattern right into the chain. So I'm going to get my chain going. I'm going to mix things up, and I'm going to start with white this time. So I'm going to get my chain, and then once I have that done, we will come back and we'll start row number 1. Okay, I've got my chain of 31, and you should know by now that I like working into my back bump, so that's what I'm going to do. And we are going to start by single crocheting into the second chain from the hook and the next 4 chains. So you want 5 single crochets. So you don't have to work into the back bumps if that is too annoying for you, but I like the finished look it gives me. I like the ease of finding those stitches when I'm coming around the other way to do my border. So that is why I decide to do that. Once you have your 5 single crochets, you're gonna follow that up with 5 double crochets. So reminder, double crochet, you yarn over first, insert into your chain or stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on your hook, yarn over again, and pull through those second 2 loops. That's a double crochet. So we need 5 of those. And now we're just going to repeat this pattern all the way to the end. So 5 singles, 5 doubles, 5 singles, 5 doubles, all the way to the end. You should end with 5 single crochets. So continue that to the end. I'll meet you up at the end. And this is what it looks like at the end of row 1. I misspoke. You end with 5 double crochets. I can't do math. It's fine. So we are not going to chain. We are going to do a stacked single crochet. And in fact, from now on, we are going to be working in the back loop only of every stitch. So until we get to the top and then the border row, everything is back loop only. That's what gives us this texture. So to do a stacked single crochet back loop only, when we do the stacked single crochet, we don't chain, we just turn our work, and then into the back loop of that last stitch that you just made, insert, pull up a loop, and then complete a single crochet. Find that left bar if you're right-handed, right bar if you're left-handed, insert your hook into that, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So we've got kind of 2 single crochets, one on top of the other. Now I'm going to go ahead and recommend that you put a stitch marker in this last stitch. We do need to work into it, and sometimes it can play hide and seek. So put a stitch marker in there. So that is basically masquerading as a double crochet, and then we are going to double crochet back loop only into the next 4 stitches. So to find your back loop only, just kind of come in from the top through the middle of your stitch and out the back. So there we've got our 5 double crochets. Now we will go back to pattern and we'll do our single crochets. Remember, everything is in the back loop only, and we need 5 of these. The pattern is really simple. It's just a matter of repeating 5 singles and 5 doubles. The tricky part, well, it's not even a tricky part, but the part to remember is when you're doing your color changes, what you start with. I've just lost count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I have to switch to doubles. So I'm going to continue doing that. Basically, I'm stacking doubles on doubles, singles on singles, all the way to the end. So I will meet you up at the end. We're going to do a color change at the end. So I'll meet you up and we'll go through that together. I am at my last stitch. I'm about to do a color change. So let's just walk through that together. I'm going to insert into my back loop, pull up a loop, drop my white, add my next color, pull through that loop. Now, the pattern that we have been working here, we've been stacking single crochets on top of doubles, and we get this wavy pattern. Now we're going to flip that, and we are going to start with doubles here. So we need to start with our stacked single. So it's a little bit more finicky when you've got your color change, but we're still going to flip it like we did before. And I'm going to insert, and then I will tighten everything up. So I'm inserting into the back loop of that first stitch. And now I'm just going to tug on my string to tighten those loops on my hook and complete that first single crochet. Insert into that left leg and finish. And then I'm going to put my stitch marker in that stitch. And then we continue on with double crochets. So I need 4 double crochets to complete the pattern. And then we switch to singles. So we need 5 singles. And so that is what we are going to do across. 5 doubles, 5 singles, 5 doubles. We're going to end with 5 singles. This time for real, we're going to end with 5 singles. So I will meet you up at the end here, and then we will continue on. I'll do one more color change with you guys, and that kind of sets the entire pattern repeat, and then I will let you go to do it on your own. Okay, so I'm at my last stitch. That's where I had my stitch marker. I'm just going to pull that out, put in my last single crochet. Now here, because we are going to do another row of singles, we are going to chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to start with 5 singles. So just like in the first 2 rows with the white, where we stacked singles on top of singles and doubles on top of doubles, we are doing that again. It's just opposite to what we did with the white. And that kind of evens out our pattern. I can't count and talk at the same time. So I've done my 5 singles. I'm going to switch and do 5 doubles. And I will continue that to the end. I'll meet you up at the end where we're going to do our next color change. And then I will let you guys work on it until we get to the border. Okay, I've got one more stitch to do, and then I'm going to color change. But before I do that, I just wanted to address these ends that we've got happening. When you are doing a color change in a double crochet, you basically do the first half of your double crochet, but at this point where you're about to do that last yarn over, that's where you add your new color. Grab my tie-dye, come through, and we are starting, we've just ended with two rows of double crochets. So now we need to do some singles. So I do a chain 1 and single crochet back loop in the first 5. And then we would do a double. 5 doubles, 5 singles, 5 doubles. I just want to take a moment to address this that's happening here. I don't know if you can see it. It's getting a little bit loosey-goosey. And it's just a matter of tugging on some of these to tighten it up. Now, when we add the border, that will help tighten up that looseness. But I do notice that up here, I think I maybe put too many single crochets in the side of my border up here. But I have a big gap, so it's just on that. Well, it's there as well. But if that bothers you, then you can tie your ends together a little bit. Then you will have a knot that you'll have to work over when you do your border. So these are all things that you're going to have to experiment with and find what works best for you. Okay, so that is basically the pattern repeat. I'm now going to repeat these 2 rows kind of. I'm going to have 5 singles, 5 doubles, 5 singles, 5 doubles, 5 singles, 5 doubles. Turning around, do the stacked single crochet, 5 doubles, 5 singles, 5 doubles, 5 singles, 5 doubles, 5 singles. Okay, and then I will change back to my white. I think that you guys can manage that. I don't have to work through more rows with you guys, but obviously if you're taking this in class, I'm in class with help. And remember, if you're doing your stacked single, just put the stitch marker in there. It just helps you find the right back loop to go through when you come back to it. Okay, so continue doing the pattern. You want 22 rows. That's 11 of these like 2-row repeats. So do remember that whatever you're ending up with, that is what you're going to border it with. So in this case, it's color B, which will be this turquoise for me. Ironically, it's the turquoise when I did this one, but you know, like, it's just how it happened. Okay, when we get to row 22, I will come back and we'll go through the border together. Okay, I have finished up to row 22, and as you can see, we have a lot of ends. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta deal with ends and you gotta weave them in. So before I proceed with the border, I'm gonna weave these in. So I'm just gonna secure this last stitch of mine so I don't lose it. And let's take a look. Let's go all the way down to the bottom here. So we've got some loose ends, we've got some stitches that have maybe gotten a little bit away from us. So I'm just going to take a moment to kind of go through each, where each end is, and just kind of give them a bit of a tug, tighten everything up. And then I can weave them in. Okay, so to weave in your ends, let's start with this guy. I don't think we talk about weaving in ends often enough. But how I like to do them is like this. I am going to find a spot in the same color as my end, and that's where I'm going to start. And I'm just going to follow some of these stitches. You want to go sort of up and down. You don't want to go right back in the same place that you just stitched, because that just undoes it. You don't want to pull too tightly because you don't want to distort the stitches. And now I'm just going to kind of cross over on myself. I'm going to go up into a different area. The more times that you change direction and cross back on yourself, the more secure your end becomes. And so then I will just snip that right off, right at the base of the end. I'm going to do that for all my ends, and then I will come back and we'll address the border. The border, the sides are kind of how we would normally do the sides, and we've done plenty of that before. The top and bottom, we want to straighten out these edges because we've got this wavy pattern, which is what we're going for, but we're gonna adapt the pattern that we've worked so far to fill in some of these gaps, and we will go through that once our ends are woven in. See you in a bit. All my ends are woven in. I even wove in my beginning tail, which I don't normally do. I normally sort of stitch over it, but I was just in the mode. Okay, so we are going to start squaring this off. Keeping with the same color, we're going to start by chaining 1 and turning our work. So now this is the right side of your work, and we're going to start with 5 half double crochets. And we are working under both loops this time, not just the back loop. So half double crochet, yarn over, insert into your stitch. Now, because we've been working in the back loops, your stitches are kind of oriented to the back. So just make sure you're picking up both loops when you go into your stitch. 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3. So we need 5 half doubles. That's 3, 4, and 5. So that just kind of helps start to bring it in line. So now the next 5 stitches, because we are in the spot where we have 2 doubles on top of each other, we are going to do singles. So 5 single crochets. And now we are getting into another one of our little dips. So 5 half double crochets. And then we're going to repeat this all the way across. So in these little valleys, we're going to put the half double crochets, and on the peaks, we're just doing singles. I think that's 4. So hopefully you can see how it's starting to straighten out the top there. So 5 singles, 5 half doubles, 5 singles, and then we are at a corner. So at the corners, we're going to put a total of 3 single crochets. So your 5th single crochet counts as the first in the 3 corner single crochets. Put 1 more, and then the other one that starts coming down the side, and you're just going to do single crochets down the side. I think the pattern says approximately 25, but that it depends on your tension. And then we're going to do the same thing on the bottom that we're doing up here. So we are starting at a peak, so 5 single crochets, 5 half double crochets, 5 singles, 5 half doubles, 5 singles, 5 half doubles, and then singles up the side. Hopefully that all makes sense. All the instructions are in your pattern, and thank you so much for joining me again this month. Looking forward to another month with you and seeing all your finished washcloths. Thanks.